The Carrie furnace was a former blast furnace that was built in 1884 and shut down in 1982. The site can be found in the Pittsburgh area alongside the Monongahela River. The furnace is not only important to our history, but it has become a place for art, the community, and the ecosystem to thrive and heal.
And I started volunteering down here at Carrie in, I think, 2010 or 2011. It was basically like the Wild West down here. Everybody around here knew Carrie Furnaces as this place that you could go and hang out and do stuff at, and there was nobody here. It was abandoned. And so it took quite a while of us chasing people off and fixing the fences and confronting people before word started to get out that there actually is people here. But we did quite a bit of work here, trying to take the place back from the elements. A lot of trees that we cut down, a lot of stuff that we've had to clean up because the place had not been taken care of in 20 some years. And it's hard to kind of imagine the way it looked. Areas that have been wide open for years now were just like in a forest.
Due to the fact that the Carrie furnace has been a National Historic Landmark since 2006, they were able to get federal funding through the National Park Service. With that money, they need to match it through private money or state money from organizations like the Pennsylvania Historic Museum Commission.
We're also doing major preservation projects on the furnaces. We just finished one, almost $2 million project, and we are doing the two big buildings, doing stabilization projects on those, and starting on this building here.
Rivers of Steel has had the site since 2010. Before that, they had been trying to save the site for over 22 years. Over the years, there have been many good things, like the art and wildlife, but also a lot of bad things, as the site started to oxidize due to it being primarily made up of steel.
These are America's ruin. These are our Coliseum. Problem is they're made out of steel, and steel oxidizes. And as it oxidizes, it's breaking down. So it is our duty as stewards of the site to make sure that we are saving it not just for now, but for future generations.
When the Carrie furnace was still in business as a steel mill, the ecosystem and wildlife was harmed immensely. The ground, rivers, and wildlife was heavily polluted. And when it was shut down, the natural decomposition of the site caused the river to become more polluted as parts fell off into the river.
As industry recedes, nature comes back in. And you see that all around this site. So that means that this is a living, thriving ecosystem again. It's coming back.
For a long time, Ron Bariff worked alone to restore the site. For 40 years, he has wanted to make the site an everyday attraction.
When we first started proposing doing something like this in 1988, right after the mills had closed and the site was sold and things were being scrapped out, nobody wanted to hear it. The general mindset was to tear it all down. If we can't work there, we don't want to see it. So we spent many years trying to get the surrounding communities to understand the importance of this. And a lot of people laughed at it and said, no way, nobody's ever going to want to come to an old mill. But it's happening.
The site has since become a place for concerts with over 17,000 people, TV shows like American Ninja Warrior, and much more like movies, festivals, and art events. This has created a way to teach others about the site's history and the importance of its preservation by including the arts and the community.
But it's also a way to tie the aesthetic, meaning the arts and the environment, and all those other stories into the historic, and create this kind of holistic park space that people can come and enjoy. And if you can trick them into learning a little bit about their history, even better. This is a relic, this is our past, but that doesn't mean that it's abandoned. It doesn't mean that it is derelict. It means that it is living, breathing, evolving. And the thing that we're very, very proud of is the fact that there is a variety of things that people are doing. As I mentioned before, anything from concerts to beer festivals to weddings to straight tours to people coming and doing graffiti art tours or landscape tours. We're happy to work with any group that has interest in this site because there's so many different stories you can tell. And it's never ending. I mean, I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I learn something new every day. I'm finding something new, I'm discovering something new. And to me, that is the mark of a important, lasting site. When we first started and we said, this should be a National Historic Landmark, that nomination process started in 1996. It took us until 2006 to get that designation.
It has taken Ron many years to get where he is today and make the Carrie Furnace a National Historic Landmark. Along the way, people expressed their love for the Carrie Furnace in different, more artistic ways.
So this is the Carrie deer. And this was done as a guerrilla art project in 1997 and 1998. What's a guerrilla art project? It's a unsanctioned piece of artwork. The folks who created this broke into the site and made this entirely out of materials found on site. And that was done because they fell in love with this place.
For a while, Barif and his colleagues were only looking at the Carrie Furnace as a historical restoration project. The deer kicked the door open to a much wider audience. People were showing interest in not only the history of the site, but now the art involved. The main issue they had to deal with, though, was people breaking in to make art and roam around, so Barif looked for a solution.
And so as we were kind of working through what do we do, I started looking at, what do they do in other places? This is a unique set of circumstances, but people exploring, people graffiti writing isn't unique. So how's it dealt with in other places? They're creating legal wall spaces to allow people to paint. So what went from almost a daily incursion on this site, I'd show up and people would cut through our fence line and all of that, is now virtually non-existent. People know that if they want to paint here, just get a hold of us, we'll let them paint. And we've set aside, there's the crane wall, there's inside that building, there's a couple other places that are legal spaces to paint. I don't care what someone's real name is. I'm not going to tell them what to paint, but I want them to respect our bound, meaning stay off the historic structures. So as a National Historic Landmark, this site is made up of contributing and non-contributing structures. Isn't it fortuitous that the deer head was built upon a non-contributing structure? So that became really that palette for the arts here. And the graffiti program went from allowing a few people to paint to having people come from all over the world to paint here, to having classrooms come in and learn about street art, urban art, we just today had some of our arts crew go into a school and do programming with the school about graffiti. So there's a lot of positive outgrowth of this. They're not coming here to be destructive, just as the artists who created this were not coming here to be destructive. They were coming here because they loved this site, because it had a deep meaning to them, and they wanted to create something beautiful, and they wanted to create something that was inspirational. They wanted to be part of this project. Now, this guy who used to chase them welcomes them here. That says something. And what that does is it opens up that conversation from a group of people this big to one this big. And the more people you have in the conversation, the more people you have involved in a project, the more success you're going to have. It's all about community. We've come a long way. And it's easy to forget, but you go back and you look at photos and you realize where we've been, but we're really just getting started. There's so much more to do here, so much more to do with the growth of this site. But really what we're looking to do is expand into the communities around us and involve more of them. So we still, as much as we've done, we still have a long way to go, and I look forward to it because this is all really important to the legacy of this region. And, I consider myself very fortunate to be part of that.